If you've been staring at the ceiling at night, asking yourself whether it's time to walk away, then listen closely, because the most dangerous relationships don't end when they end. They destroy men quietly while they're still inside them. But here's the truth most people won't say out loud. Men aren't broken by breakups. They're broken by the years they spent ignoring the voice inside that kept whispering, something here isn't right. And therefore, in the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through 5 clear signs that it's time to let her go. Not because you failed, not because you stopped caring, but because staying any longer would cost you something far more valuable than the relationship itself. You. Stay with me, because the final sign is the one that quietly dismantles good men from the inside, and most don't even realize it's happening until the damage is already deep. Sign 1. Your peace became the price. At the beginning, being with her felt effortless. Conversations flowed. Silence felt safe. Being together didn't require strategy or self-control. But then something shifted. Now, you don't speak freely, you calculate. You rehearse sentences in your head before saying them. You edit your thoughts mid-conversation just to avoid a reaction. And the giveaway, your body knows before your mind does. Your chest tightens when her name appears on your phone. You feel drained after talking instead of grounded. You need space to recover from interactions that shouldn't require recovery. That isn't love. But here's where men lie to themselves. All relationships take work. Yes, but working together is different from working just to survive. Therefore, when being with someone consistently robs you of peace instead of protecting it, that isn't a phase, it's a warning. Real partnership doesn't demand that you shrink to keep the peace. It doesn't turn disagreement into emotional warfare. It doesn't train you to stay quiet just to avoid tension. If anxiety becomes your default state in a relationship, that isn't maturity, that's survival mode. And if you think this is just how serious relationships are, the next sign will completely change how you see your situation. Sign 2. You're doing all the emotional lifting. This one doesn't arrive loudly. It simply becomes normal. You initiate the conversations, you plan the time together, you fix things when the energy shifts, you apologize first, sometimes without even knowing why. Meanwhile, she participates only when it suits her. And therefore, the relationship only feels alive when you are actively holding it together. So you start justifying it. She's stressed. She needs space. She'll meet me halfway eventually. But weeks pass, then months, then nothing changes. Here's the reality most men avoid. If your effort is the only thing keeping the relationship alive, then it isn't a relationship, it's a performance. Ask yourself honestly. When was the last time she went out of her way for you? When was the last time she made you feel deeply valued? When was the last time she showed up emotionally without being asked? If you have to think hard, that's your answer. Love is reciprocal, but struggle is not proof of loyalty. But men confuse the two. They think, if I just give more, she'll see my worth. But value doesn't work that way. When someone truly values you, they don't watch you exhaust yourself trying to hold everything together. They step in. They meet you halfway. And if this imbalance continues long enough, it leads to something far more dangerous, because it starts changing how you see yourself. Sign 3. Your feelings are dismissed until you doubt yourself. This is the sign that slowly erodes confident men. You bring up something real, something that hurt you, and instead of curiosity or care, you get dismissal. You say, that bothered me. She says, you're overreacting. You say, that crossed the line. She says, you're too sensitive. The conversation shifts. Suddenly, you're defending your emotions instead of being heard. And over time, something dangerous happens. You stop trusting yourself. You replay conversations. You second-guess your instincts. You wonder if the problem is you for even feeling anything at all. But listen carefully. Someone who loves you does not make you feel irrational for having emotions. They don't turn your vulnerability into a weakness. They don't rewrite reality to avoid accountability. Because when someone refuses to acknowledge how they affect you, they have to do one thing first: make you doubt your own perception. Therefore, you stay quiet.
You walk on eggshells. You prepare arguments like evidence in a courtroom. That's not communication. That's self-protection. And if a man starts protecting himself from his own partner, the relationship has already crossed into dangerous territory. Sign 4. Expressing needs comes with punishment. This is where things stop feeling like partnership. You ask for clarity and get distance. You ask for affection and get labeled needy. You ask for honesty and get accused of controlling behavior. So you learn the lesson. Speaking up costs peace. Therefore, you stop asking. You swallow your needs. You convince yourself you're being mature. But what you're actually doing is slowly erasing yourself. In healthy relationships, needs lead to conversation. In unhealthy ones, needs lead to consequences. And the message becomes clear. If you want harmony, don't ask for anything. That isn't love. That's conditioning. And unspoken needs don't disappear. They turn into resentment, exhaustion, and emotional distance. And if you think this is as bad as it gets, the final sign is the one that permanently changes who you become. Sign 5. Trust was broken and nothing actually changed. This is the hardest one to face. Not a misunderstanding, not a one-time mistake followed by accountability, but betrayal. Maybe it was cheating. Maybe it was repeated lying. Maybe it was crossing boundaries she knew mattered. And when it happened, your world cracked. But if you're a good man, you did something dangerous. You blamed yourself. But hear this clearly. Struggles don't cause betrayal. Choices do. And when the pattern repeats, when apologies show up but behavior doesn't, that tells you everything you need to know. Repeated betrayal means one of two things. She doesn't respect you, or she doesn't fear losing you. Both end relationships. And staying teaches a silent lesson. Boundaries are optional. But here's the real damage. You become someone you don't recognize. Suspicious, anxious, always waiting for the next hit. That's not love. That's vigilance. And no future can be built from a place of constant fear. Final reframe. Before you decide anything, zoom out. Look at patterns, not promises. Look at consistency, not potential. Ask yourself one question that cuts through all confusion. If nothing changes, can I live like this 5 years from now? If the answer is no, then staying isn't loyalty. It's self-betrayal. Letting go hurts, but staying too long costs pieces of yourself you may never fully recover from. Choose peace. Choose clarity. Choose the future version of you that doesn't have to heal from what he tolerated. The decision is yours.